What is up, y'all? It's your girl Brand New, and I'm back in a motherfucking building for part 2 of this Surviving RKelly. I'm gonna try to get everything done in this video, everything tied up in this video. Let's continue on. The girl Lisa pretty much stated that Sparkle's niece, and I believe she was stating RKelly, they had kind of planned on killing her. I felt like that was sick and odd, but it's this situation, like I stated, you all, it's just really sad and pathetic on so many levels, but let's continue on. I also thought it was sick that there was a bedroom in the studio with girls everywhere, ranging from 15 to 18. That right there was a sign, and another person ignored that. So I guess one time when they was working on the I Wish video or something, the girl Lisa came across some tapes, and that's when she came across RKelly peeing on the 14-year-old girl, like all in her mouth, her face, her chest, everywhere. It was just disgusting. Ugh. So where it pretty much takes off into now is RKelly is having a lot of lawsuits filed by, a lot of the underage girls he was having sex with at the time. They're filing these lawsuits. He's settling out of court, and people are, they're kind of paying attention, but still, once again, he's going under the radar because he's paying people off. So it's slowly but surely, it's there, but it's going away. And once again, everybody turns a blind eye. So at this time, there are these tapes that's floating around of RKelly having sex with underage girls. Now, one of the tapes that got the most attention was him with the girl Lisa, and then him, with the 14-year-old. That one was out there. And I believe Sparkle ended up being called, and I guess by police or investigators, and they're like, can you identify the girl in the tape? Is this your niece? And she's just like, yes, that is her. Sparkle is just disgusted by what's on the tape, and just everybody that saw the tape was disgusted. He was pissing on the girl. It was just really bad. They show an interview of RKelly pretty much denying it. I believe he spoke with Ed Gordon. Spoke with him, did an interview with him. Oh, if people are seeing these tapes with me and a minor on them, they're lying. It's all lies. It ain't true. Of course, no accountability. He's not going to come out. If a person is a narcissist, the number one trait of a narcissist is they have no empathy. They don't admit to anything, and they're very good at blaming and shifting the blame onto other people. That is just what they do. So I don't know why anybody was shocked that RKelly was saying this. Of course he's not going to admit to what he's doing. So during this time, Andrea is pretty much getting a hold to information that RKelly is, fucking around with all these young girls. She's thinking in her head, like, when did you have time? Like, he had plenty of time when he wasn't with you. Like, I don't know about you all, but it was just like, if somebody has isolated you from everybody in your family to just the house, and it's just the house and you and the kids, then, like, of course he had time to do this, that, and the other. I just think that she didn't want to believe that she was with this monster. She did not want to accept the fact that she was with a man that was fucking on these children, these young girls. So, yeah, he had plenty of time because he wasn't with you. And it's not like she knew any of the girls, because Andrea has stated that he kept everybody separated. The young girls away from her, and, nobody was really allowed to talk. Another thing I walked away from with this is, how did everybody allow one fucking person to control like them? Like with Andrea, yes, she was abused. But after a while, wouldn't it ring in that, my man is never at home and, I'm hearing all these reports. And eventually, she did leave and I think she said she only had $2,500, but I guess she was so sucked in, she couldn't believe he was doing this type of shit. But yeah, it's definitely possible if somebody is keeping you and all these young ladies isolated. So during this time, RKelly's Florida case was thrown out. And I thought that was very suspicious how they just threw all that out. And, there looked to be some type of evidence of, him having sex with the 14-year-old and the other girl, and it's just like, what the fuck? So, next thing I know, honey, the trial takes place, and next thing I know, RKelly is trying to throw one of his brothers under the bus and say that, I think it was his younger brother, RKelly, trying to throw him under the bus, saying maybe that was him on the tape, and I was like, damn, you willing to throw your damn brother under the damn bus? What kind of human being is you? Nigga, you know it's you on that motherfucking tape. Long story short, they get Sparkle on the stand. She identifies him. She believes it's him on the tape. She believes, yes, that is my niece. She's speaking up. And then the girl that's on the tape, I guess the 14-year-old, he didn't pay her off and her family off. She says it's not even her. I think one of her brothers or somebody came through on the stand, said it wasn't her either. And then right then and there, we have no case. We have no case, and this man is allowed to keep going around abusing young women because nobody is coming forward. And I have to give praise to Sparkle. Yes, she was very questionable to me for a few things. Like, y'all know I don't like the shit that she saw with the wife and ignored it. I felt like she ignored certain signs in this situation, but at the same time, she did try to get him prosecuted. She did try to get him behind bars for what he did to her niece. She was offered money by him, more or less 6 figures. She turned it down. The family, I believe, took the money and lied for RKelly. Therefore, he was allowed to get off once again. Once again, everybody is still playing this music. You got fans outside of the courthouse saying RKelly ain't guilty. Everybody around the world turning a blind eye. Celebrities still working with him. He still has his fan base. He still has support. And as long as a narcissist of this magnitude has that support, there's no reason to stop, I'm about to play something from an interview, and then I will come back and say what I need to say on it. So let me play that for you guys.
Ask you something real that millions of Americans are thinking about. Do you like teenage girls?
When you say teenage, how are we talking?
Girls who are teenagers.
Now, do you see that this motherfucker is, what age by teenage? What are you talking? You knew what the fuck you know what they talking about, motherfucker. Do you like underage girls? See, that right there shows that he's guilty. I know a lot of people say, well, no, it's just how he answered. If you ask somebody something, do you like underage girls or boys? You come with me with that. You come and ask me that shit. I'm saying no. I'm not going to say, what you consider to be. I'm not going to finesse my way out of the question, but still pretty much have a moment of some admission of guilt. Like, to me, that was a little bit of an admission of guilt. He wanted to say, oh, well, I have friends that's 19 years old, and, why are you friends with people that damn young?
19?
19 and younger.
I have some 19-year-old friends, but I don't like anybody illegal if that's what we're talking about, underage.
Motherfucker, it wouldn't have been me asking his ass the motherfucking questions, because you know what time it is, motherfucker. We also learned that since Andrea and RKelly's divorce was finalized in 2009, RKelly has reportedly stopped paying child support on several occasions. Andrea pretty much said that he did that, like the reason a lot of these niggas do that, to punish the mother. That way you can struggle and go back to the father, and it's that same ass bullshit, and it's really disgusting because RKelly, you had money. You know what I'm saying? You had more money than any of these niggas out here, and you treated that lady like that and punished your kids. When you punish the child's mother, you're punishing the children. So you're basically saying, fuck them kids. So next we get introduced to a young lady by the name of Geronda, I believe, Pace. And she was a super fan at the time. She would go to the trial and pretty much support him because, they allowed people in the public to come and see the case. So she would try to see him like that. If she saw him outside, she would try to, talk to him and let him know that, she's definitely in support of him. And then, long story short, they end up hooking up and messing around, and it's just really sad that this young lady pretty much, turned a blind eye to this man being on trial messing with, young women her age. She turns a blind eye and becomes a motherfucking victim, her motherfucking self. So I really encourage you all, if you have young women, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, hell, let's start talking to these babies at 5 and 6. Talk to your young lady children after watching such a docuseries. I'm serious. I talked to my daughter. I'm going to keep talking to my daughter, letting her know that there are predators out here that are looking to prey upon her life. RKelly is a predator. He just so happens to be an R&B music sensation. He just so happens to be that, but there are a lot of RKellys in the world. Don't be fooled. The girl, Geronda, she admitted to RKelly that she was sexually abused, and, they connected off of that. He was abused as well, and when sharing such vulnerabilities with somebody, that makes that person trust you. That makes somebody have a sense of connection with you, a bond with you. So the Geronda girl pretty much begins walking us through her day-to-day life with RKelly. She had to ask for food, for something to drink, to go to the bathroom. He told her she couldn't be on her phone. She was totally isolated from her friends and family. Next, we get introduced to a young lady named Dominique Gardner. She met RKelly at the age of 17. We get introduced to her mom, Michelle, and Michelle hasn't seen her daughter, Dominique, in almost a year. She said that her daughter was just like a regular teenager. She went to prom. The girl was very pretty, when she looked like a girl, very pretty and just normal, regular, wanted to go to college, and it's just sad. Dominique had went to school to become a dental assistant. Her mother was in college with her. She's doing pretty good in school. So I believe they had one situation where Michelle had kind of warned her daughter to stay away from RKelly. She was a super fan of his. And, Michelle actually, I believe, told RKelly that I want you to stay the fuck away from my daughter. And the daughter admitted that somewhere down the line, I guess when she was in college, that she had still been seeing him, had been talking to him. He wanted her to move with him. So the daughter, Dominique, ended up moving to Atlanta because that's where R. Kelly wanted her to live with him at, and her mother was sad, because she was just like, at this time, she's 21, 22. What can I do? She's grown. It's just so sad. Then they share with us Geronda and Dominique had began seeing R. Kelly back in the summer of 2009. I believe they knew each other. He would isolate the girls in the house. They couldn't really speak to each other. They would try to meet in the bathroom to talk with each other and would always get caught. The girl Geronda said he beat her so bad. And she ended up turning over all evidence of abuse of R. Kelly in her diary. She turned it in to the Illinois Bureau of Investigation, which is good, because that was a horrible situation to fucking be in. She pretty much regretted being that super fan, vouching for him, knowing he had abused other girls. And like I said, she became one of them. Then we get to the point where Dominique, she wants to leave the house. There was a former employee that tried to help her escape. That didn't work out. Rob and R. Kelly, he then molded her into being a boy, cut off all her hair. The girl was so pretty, cut her hair, and, she's wearing boy clothes now. And, and it's just like, damn, this nigga is gay too. Like, you're making this young lady be a boy. Like, it's just sick. Just, ugh. Next, we get introduced to Joycelyn Savage's mother and father, and they get to talking about their daughter. Their daughter is the main one that has not returned home. We did, however, see some video footage of Joycelyn and the girl. What is that girl's name? Yeah, Dominique. We saw video footage of them together, and that's kind of how Dominique's mother found out where her daughter was. And to just wrap up the whole Dominique situation, her mom was actually in this documentary, like, looking for her daughter. She ended up meeting up with her at the hotel. She had to go up to the hotel. First, R. Kelly threw her off. She was at the wrong hotel. She went to the right hotel. It was another hotel with the same name, I guess, somewhere behind that hotel. It was just crazy. And people tried to call the police on her, but she ended up talking to her daughter. Daughter told her to come back at 6. You could kind of tell, like, when I think her name is Michelle, when she was talking to her daughter, the girl was listening to her, like, really thinking about, hey, I need to get away from this man. This is my chance to go and be with my mom. You know what I'm saying? The girl Dominique. That he didn't be a boy. This is my chance to go and be with my mom. I saw that. I don't know if you all saw that when she was talking to her mom. She was really thinking about, like, man, I should leave. And turns out she was in the hotel room with the girl, Joycelyn. And I want to just call her Jocelyn, but I can't because it's, Joycelyn? Joycelyn. Yeah, that's her name. But yeah, she was, in the room with her. Long story short, not Joycelyn, Dominique ended up, leaving out with her mother, with her backpack. She ended up going. I was crying, honey. I was there for that. That mother was not leaving no matter what. She said, I done came this far to get my baby. I was so happy when they was able to escape that situation. The girl was crying. Her mother kept telling her not to cry. And the girl was just like, I'm so sorry. And, her mother said that she is just so happy that her daughter, made the right decision. And I'm happy too, because a lot of these girls, like the girl Joycelyn, they're still, like, dealing with him. Like, Joycelyn is still in a situation with RKelly, you know, where she is being treated like the other girls was. So it's just like her family, you know, they depressed. They can't see her. Once again, we find out with the girl, Joycelyn, you know, she was aspiring to be in music. Her parents pretty much let us know that RKelly was never to be alone with her. And my whole issue with them is if you keep hearing in the news that somebody is being charged, accused, I should say, of this, that, and the other. We got this situation with Aaliyah. We got this tape. You know, where there is some smoke, ladies and gentlemen, there is some fire. You know, it is what it is. So I just felt like that was weird that they still wanted their daughter to work with him. And this is the whole thing. All of this shit is about money, power, and fame. You know, just simply based on the fact that RKelly has money and fame, you know, you want your daughter aligned with him, even after you hearing all of these stories about him. And throughout the documentary, they get to talking about how RKelly didn't work with Whitney, and, you know, he made a song for her, and even at her funeral, RKelly was allowed to sing. They didn't put Bobby Brown out of her damn funeral, but allowed goddamn RKelly, with all these allegations against him, allow him to sing and say whatever the fuck he want at the funeral. You got the pastors agreeing with what he's singing. You know, everybody pacified this behavior. Everybody turned a blind eye. Everybody played a part, you know. They spoke out on the whole Joycelyn Savage situation with her coming out to TMZ, letting everybody know she was okay. I remember seeing those videos, and I knew the shit was staged. You know, she was being prompted on what to say and how to say it, and to make sure you're on TMZ saying it. That way, you know, these people can leave me alone. They know that you're okay. They can't just take you. You know, you are grown. You are of age. You know, you are consenting to this. It's just crazy. Now the family feels stupid that they even trusted him with their daughter. All they want to do is talk to the girl. It's just crazy. Next, we get introduced to a young lady by the name of Kitty Jones. She is a radio DJ that met RKelly at the age of 33. So this is not somebody that is underage, but this woman was still abused. We have to admit to that, because I know a lot of people's like, well, this bitch is in her 30s. Like, this is the thing, you all, with abuse. And this is why I always say, do your work, read your spiritual books, work on your self-esteem, read self-help books. I got a few on Amazon, honey. Y'all check me out, Brandy Robinson on Amazon. I'm serious. There are all types of self-help books on loving yourself, because what happens is when we're broken and abused, like this young lady was, she admitted that she had been married and her man had abused her, and, you know, she just was not all the way there mentally. And she began to deal with RKelly, and soon she was, you know, began dealing with physical abuse from him, and, you know, having all this sex with him, and just, she ended up, I think, finding out about the tape with him out messing with the 14-year-old, and she questioned him about it. He beat her ass because she was even asking about it. He said, bitch, don't ever accuse me of none of what you heard. I don't give a fuck about what you heard. Like, we have, like, yet again, another victim. And we have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. You know, don't always judge yourself by, oh, I got a good job. I got a good man. What do you have with you? Do you have a good relationship with you? Do you have the proper and the right self-esteem and the right people around you? Because you have to be careful what you're pouring into yourself. Because if you don't pour into yourself positivity, then you can allow for negativity and negative people and predators to come in, abuse you, and do whatever they want to do, you know? One of the former employees spoke out and said, when I first met those girls, I thought all of them was really stupid. I've always judged them and looked at them like they the perpetrator, and I never looked at him. I would just see them jump up and kiss him and do whatever he asked them to do. I felt like they was stupid, and I feel bad for that. All this time it was him. He is a predator. You know what I'm saying? This is his former employee saying this shit, and it's just crazy. It's sad. During these type of times, people will blame the victims. Oh, she should have knew better. Oh, you should have higher self-esteem. Oh, what did your parents teach you? But like I said, you all, it doesn't matter. If you are broken inside, then you will continue to allow someone to break you. And who better than the Pied Piper of R&B, the person that everybody admires in the music industry, the person that, is making all this money. He has all this power, and he abuses his power, to abuse young girls. It's a cycle. And it's unfortunate that the justice system has allowed this, because it just seems like I see people with less evidence against them and they go to jail. So with all this evidence on him, he's not in prison yet. Like, don't y'all find that to be mind-boggling? Like, it's fucking crazy. It's insane. So next we have Azriel Clary. She met RKelly at the age of 17, and I believe she was at one of his concerts. I could tell you this much, with all those goddamn allegations he had against him, I think I was looking at them the most, because I'm just looking at the fact of he done had all this shit with him messing around with underage girls in the media. Why would you be at a concert with your young daughter? And I know people are going to say, well, they didn't really know. And I'm not at all saying that these parents wanted this to happen. But it's just like, come on now. If you see that there is some smoke on a person that keeps coming from a certain person's direction, why would you allow that person to meet with your baby girl? But anyways, long story short, he ends up working with the girl, and they want him to only work with her when they are around. They have to always be involved, and I'm just looking at it like this. That right there shows you didn't trust him. So y'all shouldn't have been fucking dealing with him in the first goddamn place. But their daughter wanted to be in the industry. She kept threatening them, you all need to let me do this. Let me make my own mistakes. I can handle all of this. I want to work with RKelly, So their daughter, during this time, had been calling, sneaking around, texting RKelly, this, that, and the third. She was supposed to be home one day. Turns out she's at this fucking hotel room auditioning for RKelly, which was a red sign to me right there. It was a red sign. Long story short, parents end up talking to RKelly, saying, well, you only can work with her if we're going to be around, this, that, and the third. Like, to me, I would have took my fucking daughter and we would have been done. That should have been it right there, The mother already had feelings about it, She didn't feel like her daughter was a good fit to be working with RKelly. You, mom, should have stayed with that feeling. We cannot ignore our conscience. And hopefully this family, and I believe they've learned from, ignoring that voice. Like, hold up, you didn't lie to me, and you went and had an audition at a hotel. Like, I know that took them by surprise. And I would have been done with him, So they end up letting their older daughter go with Azriel to work with RKelly. Remember, they said if Azriel is going to be working with RKelly, she has to be there with, her big sister. Her big sister go there, and she's thinking they go get to hang out and go places. Azriel had kind of told her that, but they get there, and she has to let him know when she going to the bathroom, gotta let him know when she wants something to eat. The sister is noticing all this shit, like, this shit is crazy. You know, this ain't no way for my sister to live. I think she had noticed, like, buckets in the room for the girls peeing, and it was just sick. Long story short, with this story, I think the sister, what's her name? Isis. She calls the police on RKelly because they had an incident at the studio where she couldn't find her sister. Her sister ended up popping up, and, you know, it's just all too weird for her. So she, you know, calls the police, but the police are unable to verify that Azriel is being held against her will. You know, RKelly is steady pulling on the sister, trying to get her to stay. It's just a whole mess. Long story short, they then pushed the girl Isis out of some van, and she didn't know where she was. Basically, RKelly and his people threatened her. If you say anything about what's going on, you know, your sister won't make it out alive. She ended up, I guess, lying to her parents, telling them it wasn't that bad, and telling them, you know, just kind of saying stuff ain't that bad, even though they was worried, you know. So the parents didn't exactly know what was going on. They wish they would have, you know, known more information on this situation, but it was just too late. So RKelly then fed this girl parents some bullshit, and they bought it. He pretty much told them that he would have somebody from the record label be their daughter's guardian while she's 17. She still ain't signed yet. This person would make sure she doing her school work, doing everything she need to do, you know, because remember, their whole thing is, oh, as long as somebody is with her. And I'm just looking like, this shit is just weird. My daughter wouldn't even be allowed to anywhere near RKelly if there are any allegations of him or any man. I'm like, what are you thinking? Why are we trading in our common sense for money and fame, and because your child wants to sing, and like, come on. During this documentary, they also pointed to the fact that RKelly would do gospel music. You know, he did different things to change his image, to change how you thought about him. Remember the I Wish song, you know, where he was saying he missed, you know, somebody in his family. You know, he wanted you to get familiar with his so-called vulnerable side. He wanted to, and that's a narcissist. They always want you to see the good side of them, see this new person I'm being, and oh, I'm going to church now, and oh, I'm writing for Whitney Houston, all these different people. I'm this, you know, like, it was so easy for him to hide his true intentions because he has the talent, he has people that work for him that's helping him, you know, he has the law basically letting him off on all charges and allegations. They just dismissing his shit. He feels invincible, you know? They show an interview with the Huffington Post that RKelly did where he's being very, you know, defensive, and this isn't a deposition, and I'm not going to talk about these allegations, and we not even go address that. I'm not here to talk about that. He storms off, and, you know, it's just like, it's so obvious that you are guilty from your fucking behavior. So now all of a sudden, Azriel's family is hearing about what could possibly be going on with her daughter, how she's being abused, this, that, and the third. The mother is just like, well, why didn't nobody say nothing when she was underage? She grown now, you know, and it's just, like I said, it's really sad, you all. They show Jocelyn's parents trying to do a wellness check on her, you know, while they're at his house. They show Azriel's parents at a studio, you know, looking for their daughter, trying to do a wellness check, and they are unable to get in contact with their daughter. I like how the former employee broke down what type of girls and women that RKelly looked for, because the person basically stated that R. Kelly pretty much went for weak-minded women. That way that they could be totally dependent on him. And that's why I always say it is so important that we give our daughters love, respect, and care. That way they can have high self-esteem and they are not easily swayed into these certain situations. So it's just very sad that both Jocelyn and Azriel's parents, you know, they still, what are they, the Clarys, I believe that's their last name. They still haven't seen their daughter. Jocelyn's parents, they still wasn't able to see their daughter. They was just told from the wellness checks that both girls are healthy and safe. Ain't nothing to worry about. R. Kelly got friends at the police departments in Atlanta and Chicago that was able to kind of help him out with that. Like, it's just crazy how it's like all a fucking machine, you know? We also get introduced to a young lady named Asante McGee, who was a super fan of R. Kelly at the age of 35. That's when, you know, she met him. She began telling us how controlling R. Kelly was, and she would do anything he told her to do. She talks about once how she moved into the house and, you know, she was denied food and she had to ask to go to the bathroom. They actually show her walking through one of the houses because they ended up being evicted. I think he had both of his houses. He had like two houses. I think one in Chicago or at Atlanta. And they were foreclosed upon, you know, because he ain't got the money like that, you know. Different concerts and tours are canceled as quick as they are scheduled. You know, he doesn't have the money and the power like that, which is good. It was very weird seeing Wendy Williams on here, because the internet been dragging her ass all month, all weekend. Child was just weird looking at her because she in the news because her man got a side chick, honey. It was just weird watching her speak out against him. She mentions how she done spoke with R. Kelly in confidence. He admitted that he likes really petite women, and you know. And he never admitted that he liked underage girls. But shit, even Wendy knew that was some bullshit. It was sad watching the girl Asante walk through the house that she used to stay at. Because you could see that she was like physically getting sick as she's walking through the house and shit. She ended up escaping and, you know, getting away from his crazy ass. Next we get introduced to another young lady, Faith Rogers. You know, she pretty much had the same relationship with R. Kelly as the same as the other women. He pretty much explained to Faith about all the young girls that stayed in the house that these are women that he raised and some of them been with him for 15 years, all this bullshit. Faith lets us know that she ended up meeting Jocelyn and she just picked up on the fact that R. Kelly had brainwashed her. You know, whenever he would leave the room, the girl was numb, didn't have pretty much no personality or nothing. But when, you know, he was in a room, she's full of life and all on him, kissing him all in the mouth. She ended up talking to Jocelyn's mother on the phone, letting her know that she met her daughter and, you know, this, that, and the third. It's crazy. So after all of that, honey, Faith Rogers ended up getting herpes from R. Kelly. And, you know, once she took the test, found that out, you know, she was done with him. And all of that shit began to play out in the media. And, I mean, it's really, sad. They talked about the Mute R. Kelly movement where nobody's going to work with him, play his music, have anything to do with him. You know, this man needs help. We're not going to, you know, keep supporting him. Next, they talk about R. Kelly coming out with this Admit song, which is like a 19-minute song about how people talking about how he a pedophile, and you know, he just has a very disgusting way of bringing the music into it, and just, it's like, man, if you don't sit your ass down, go on and get your ass some motherfucking help. After seeing this docu-series, you all, it's just like, he needs to be behind bars. He needs to be held accountable for his actions. Way too many people have come forth talking about him. He needs to be thrown under the motherfucking jail. I don't have shit else to say on this, you all. It's just a very sad docu-series. I hope you all have chosen to educate your children about this man and other men out here like him. That's pretty much all we could do, is stay educated and don't support him, you know? So that's all I have to say, you all, on this topic. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It is your girl Brand New, and I am out.